Hello, so I'm going to do my reflection over my persuasive speech. And so the first question is, what was the purpose of the speech? And I think the purpose of this speech was to, the general purpose was probably obviously to persuade an audience, but to get us comfortable speaking in front of an audience and for us to be able to show our persuasive speaking skills off and for us to be able to establish pathos, logos, and ethos and to really be able to persuade our audience. Um, how did I feel going into this speech presentation? Um, right away I was like, oh yeah, all gung ho about it. But then I kept going and I figured out that we had to give our speech like without our entire speech on our note cards, and that really made me nervous. And so, did your speaker anxiety increase or decrease as you began your speech? And I would have to say mine probably increased quite a bit. I ended up actually practicing it a lot, and then when it came time to give my speech, I went way over the time limit, and I messed up quite a bit, which was not in the game plan. Was my technology adequately prepared? What could be done differently or better? I would say, yeah. I think my technology was pretty well prepared for the most part. Could have had probably some better lighting, but oh well. Um, in terms of structure and organization, what element felt natural to you, what felt odd. In this sense, it was kind of harder for me to establish an introduction for my persuasive speech than it was for my informative speech. And for naturally, it felt easy to kind of give that call to action and give a good conclusion to my persuasive speech. So I thought that came pretty natural to me, but the introduction was not as easy for me. How did I consider my audience when developing my speech, and how did my audience respond to my speech? While I was conducting my speech, I wanted to really find some credible research because on the discussion posting, I remembered one of my classmates kind of questioning my views on emo experimentation, and I really wanted to prove that person wrong. And um, I think that was kind of my goal throughout the whole thing, find some credible sources and be able to really prove to people that animal experimentation is not the only way that we can get data and sort of grow from that. Um, and of course, how did my audience respond to my speech? Um, we have a dog, so imagining I obviously gave it to my family, my mom and my two brothers, and so um, when I was giving the speech, I think they kind of pictured these things happening to my dog, and they kind of hit pretty close to home. So that was good. What did you do in your speech that worked? What didn't work? In my speech, I think I gave some pretty solid points. I had some pretty good mini theses going on. What didn't work? Like I said, I talked way too much. I didn't really realize how much I was actually talking. It felt pretty short while I was behind the camera, actually. And what areas can you target for improvement? I think even though I thought I practiced a lot, and I really did, I practiced a lot. I need to practice even more, working on not relying so heavily on my note cards. And I think I need to also maybe not go over the time limit next time. Um, so for the last question, connect your learned experiences to the class readings and concepts and include at least one specific chapter with a page number from the section to which you are referring. And I found that when reading about persuasive speeches in chapter 13, which is titled Persuasive Speeches, I found that points that dealt with credibility on page 123 to be very interesting and helpful for me. Found out that speaker credibility is incredibly important when it comes to persuasive speaking. And so learning about how to really gain that speaker credibility helped me quite a bit when it came to the persuasive speech presentation. All right, thank you very much. And I'm